what do you start to do to get better to the point where you're able to compete at a really high level? Because you're one of the most decorated players in the game. You have a lot of tops, from what I understand.
Right.
Yeah, I think you even won an ARG, right?
I won 2.
Holy shit!
Tell him, put him up.
So look at that. Like,
So I know what the episode what they did with Ed, that Ed had his pulled up.
yeah, Ed had a whole list. Ed read off a list.
He did.
Yeah,
He did.
I have my list to the side as well.
Okay, all
Let's
right.
go.
Can we get our boy Blair Hunter to read off his list? I always want to give people their flowers while they're here. We want to celebrate you as our guest. So
right. The first one is ARG, the 15K in 2014 with Hat.
Okay.
That's top 32. YCS Charleston, 2015, top 32 with Satellar Knights.
Okay.
ARG Orlando 2016 is the one that I won with Perform Age Magicians, which is Pendulum deck.
Mm-hmm.
And that's right before Bosch. Like that's when Skull Combat Joker just came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like the very, very watered down Pendulum deck. Still good. It was still good at the time. ARG Pittsburgh 2016 top 8 with Cosmos. ARG Charlotte 2016 top 8 with Fire King Cosmos. ARG St. Louis 2016 top 16 Fire King Cosmos. ARG Orlando 2016 top 16 Fire King Cosmos. The ARG Invitational in 2016 top 16 Fire King Cosmos. YCS Toronto 2016 top 16 Fire King Cosmos. ARG OKC 2016 Fire King Cosmos. ARG Charlotte 2016 is the one I won. The second one I won with ABC. ARG St. Louis 2017 top 16 with Zodiac. ARG Knoxville 2017 top 4 with Zodiac. YCS Toronto 2017 4th place with Zodiac. ARG Charlotte 2018 top 16 Pixel Magicians. YCS Pasadena 2018 top 16 with Dino Thunder. That's pretty much like the dinosaur deck, and then Thunder Dragons. That deck was very, very fun. That deck was fun. Oh my god,
Dino Thunder. I've never actually heard of that one.
And that Top Cut, I was the only person in Top Cut playing that deck. That deck was very, very fun. The reason I played that deck, of course, Thunder Dragon Colossus was pretty much like he had his neck on, he had his foot on everybody's neck.
Yeah, that card
whenever he was
absurd. You can't search your deck at all.
Yeah. So the biggest deck that a lot of people were playing, a lot of the top players were playing at the time was the. And I know it's on the top to my tongue. It was the Danger OTK.
Yes.
Where they do a slash draw. So the biggest thing was, and then the deck searches a lot. So I would pretty much put up Thunder Dragon Colossus. I'll put up Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, making Abyss Dweller, have hand traps and infinite impermanence and stuff like that. So like they would go through all the dangers, put all the dangers on the boards. Phantom Sky Blaster makes our huge and stuff. So if I went first, they can't search. Right. And then second of all, they put all their monsters on the board, activate Ultimate Conductor Tyranno.
And put them all face down.
Mm-hmm. And they can't, and at that time, that's when Link Summoner was out, and you can't link with face down monsters at the time. So pretty much their board was stuck. They can't do anything else. They can't search. They can't do anything. And then I just kill all the monsters and just kill them the next turn.
Yeah.
That deck was very fun. That deck was very, very fun.
You said something
won
interesting.
That one?
You said what?
That's the one. No, that's one of the ones you won.
No, that was that was a YCS that he topped.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say was, you said something about back then you couldn't link with face down monsters. Has that changed?
I think there's one archetype is a bad archetype. It's called like crawlers. If I'm wrong, you're gonna butcher me anyway. But I think that archetype you can link with face down monsters.
Okay, so there's like a specific theme of cards where they say one face down monster or some shit like that.
And then there's also a generic link one that you can use face down monsters to.
Okay, yeah, that's wild. With. So that's actually, because I was about to say, I thought that all link summoning had to be face up, but if they're trying to make it more like contact fusion where you can set things and then start linking, that's going to be annoying.
And it's funny that you say contact fusion because that's where the next couple come from as well with contact. So I think the last one I said was YCS Pasadena 2018 with Dino Thunder top 16. Yep. YCS Niagara Falls 2019 top 32 with Cyber Dragon Orchest. YCS Fort Worth 2019 top 32 Cyber Dragon Orchest. YCS Pasadena 2019 that was weekend of our birthday with top 32 Cyber Dragon Orchest. And then the Pro Play Games, the PPT Invitational in Orlando top 16 with Cyber Dragon Orchest.
Holy shit.
Wait, was that all of it?
That's all of them.
Oh, that's an even 20.
And it's the 20th episode.
That's an even
that's crazy.
20.
Look at how it lines up. Ed was talking about how he hates the number 17. He was the 17th episode. And Blair loves 20 because he has 20 tops. a ton of ARG, Konami, and even some PPG in there. So Blair has topped everything that you can pretty much top in this game.
I was going to say, most of those were ARGs. And if I remember, ARG was the one with real prize pools.
Yeah,
ARG had a really good prize pool. And arguably, the better players did go to ARGs because in order to compete at like something that wasn't official, you have to take the game extremely seriously to even want to go to something like that, right? Like it's not a sanctioned event or whatever, but people like the best of the best players definitely went to ARGs, which is, sometimes you just have a bracket of 10 people. It's like, holy shit, like I know every single person I played today. Like rarely do I actually play randoms at ARGs or like people who I just don't know at all. I go to the event and be like, I know literally 100 of the people in this room, and there's only, they were small, so they were like 250 people or something. Like I know over 100 of the people, maybe even more than that, honestly.
Man.
And those tournaments were pretty difficult.
They were very, very, very hard. Like there were
Blair
times
has a great amount of both Konami and ARG tops. So
a lot more ARGs. Like the very beginning, like when I first started topping, it was primarily ARGs. Had like a couple YCS that were peppered in there.
Yeah.
But then like this last stretch, like 2018, 2019 was when it started picking up with YCS tops, which I was very happy with.
Yes. Yeah, and I like that you have those two ARG wins. ARG wins, they were paying out like $1,500 for first place, which is a good amount of money.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
What's your first top was at ARG, but what deck was it?
It was a hat deck. The hat deck hand artifact trap tricks.
What made you want to play that? Because I'm also a person who topped nationals with FAT, which is the Fire Fist artifact trap tricks, and then I topped the ARG, the whatever one, I think Sahabi one.
That was a 15K.
And I topped with Cat with that one.
I was about to say,
so
I'm mad there's decks Fat, Hat, Cat. Like,
yeah.
Like y'all were playing Dr. Seuss, all right? Like,
was there a rat? There was a rat deck too.
So someone probably tried it. I don't know I don't know what their R would be, but I'm pretty sure they tried it.
Probably raccoons. I don't know. So yeah, so your first one was Hat, and I personally love that deck. But what made you actually want to play that?
That year was the first year that I actually played in the Konami Nationals. That was the first, the World Championship, the World Championship qualifier. That was the first one that I actually played in. The ones that I played in, the first one I went to previously in 2013, I actually didn't play. I ended up being on the judge staff for the one for 2013 that Hobie won.
I forgot that you were a judge at one point.
Yeah,
I forgot about Blair in a judge uniform. That was definitely a thing.
Ooh, let me slide in. Do you have a story or an experience of like one of the most annoying kind of somebody you had to deal with who asked you for a ruling, you tell them the ruling, and they're like, nah. Like, have you ever had some shit like that happen?
All the time. So, like, just to touch on it briefly, like, if it permits, we'll probably touch on it a little bit later on in the episode. But I did judge a good bit of YCSs, like the YCSs. I did the World Championship qualifier in 2013. Later on in the years, before I solely started just playing, when I just quit judging and started playing, actually start head judging all the regionals in Georgia. So I was a head judge for Georgia for a good bit of time, like a year or two. And like this happened multiple times. There'd be times where like someone would stop me and I'm like walking around. I'm walking around and then they're like, "Hey, I got this ruling," and I'm like, first of all, you don't want me to answer this. and they're like, no, go ahead. And then they'll tell me the ruling is something really, really stupid or really scared. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't. It works like this, whatever. And like, nah, man, I don't believe you. Can I appeal? And I'm like, who are you gonna appeal to? I'm literally. I told y'all y'all didn't want to get the answer from me first. And because like primarily as a head judge, you don't take the first call because in that scenario,
there's no appeal at that point.
Yeah, now if they feel defeated at that point, like more so anyway, because like there's no one they can talk. Can I talk to the TO? You don't know anything.
Yeah, the TO.
The TO don't know nothing.
The TO is here to host this tournament, and that is it. I am the highest up the chain you can go as far as Konami.
That's it. You want to appeal? Okay, I turn back around. What's your question? What you got
I gave him a chance. I'm like, you don't want me to answer this.
Yeah, I do know a lot of people bug the head judge before events start because there's always a chance that the head judge will give a ruling for a tournament that may not necessarily be the correct ruling, but because the head judge says so for that weekend, it just flies. An example of this has been tour guide getting Sangan overlay, detached Sangan at Searches, Indianapolis 2011. That was the rule. There was a Toronto YCS or some YCS where Dante, so chain disappearance would banish Dante and then go in the extra deck and banish the other copies of Dante.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember that tournament. I remember that.
That was a crazy ruling. Yeah, there's just been a couple of rulings that head judges have made in the years where it can completely shake up the meta. And the Friday before the event, people ask the head judge, and then people start spreading rumors. Oh my God, did you hear how they're ruling Magician Shark this weekend? Did you hear how they're ruling like everything? People will just make up stuff, and you hear all this buzz in hotels about, oh my God, this card's crazy now. Like, it's ridiculous. People were looking for Chain Disappearance. People were charging $30 for rare copies of Chain Disappearance because they're like, oh, it banishes all the Dantes, and BA was like one of the best decks, if not the best deck at the time.
Oh yeah,
so that was a thing. But
arguably.
I've never been a head judge, but I have judged for many years. I think starting in like 2009 or 2010, I started judging regionals. I never judged a YCS because I always said to myself, I'm so competitive that I'd rather play every single time.
Right.
And so I never judged the YCS, but I was pressured to for a while by some of the other head judges in my area and the head judges that would come to Philly. But I never did it. But I enjoy judging Philly regionals like a lot. Like that was one of my. I mean, I've done it for like 10 years, I want to say, and I enjoy that a great deal. Even though some of the questions are crazy and you're on your feet a long ass time, and I always like to wear nice shoes, and nice shoes feel awful.
Yeah, but I think you said we were talking about what got me to play hat for the first one.
Yeah, what got you to play hat?
All right, so at that World Championship qualifier, so the finals of that was Corey, of course, the late Corey McDuffie, and then Dion Ackridge. So at the time, Dion actually stayed in my area when I was in college, so I saw him a lot at the first locals, and then he would start riding with me to super games. So like a lot of my stuff, like with deck building and everything, I go like me and him would talk about certain stuff, like not necessarily in depth for like certain things, but like other formats and stuff we talk more in depth about, like what we would play. So going into that World Championship qualifier, I actually had a couple decks that I wanted to play at. I wasn't sold on a deck yet. I think my options I was looking at was either Yugioh, Hat, but Hat was like on the low end at that point. And then Sylvans was one. I think that was like the main ones that I was looking at. It was either going to be Yugioh, Sylvans. It was going to be Yugioh or Sylvans, and I ended up going with Sylvans. And then I did decent. I started, like my first one, I lost my first round. Like I lost for like a whole bunch of WCQs starting off. I lost my first round every time. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. But I ended up losing like round 8 of day 1, which put me out of contention. But Dion's start was terrible. He lost the first one and drew the second round.
Oof.
And then made it all the way to the finals. And then
damn, he was the one out.
He definitely went out. Like a lot of the games, like luck was on his side. Like everyone said all the time, probably lucky than good, but like luck was on his side. I remember watching his top 8 match versus Tamid, and when I say that was the wildest match I ever saw,
that was the one with the Stardust and the D Prison, right?
Yes. It was like that match was so crazy. But I'm like,
so
oh my
God. I think he attacked with Stardust Dragon into a D Prison or something,
and
then that basically caused him to lose the entire thing and not go to Worlds out.
Right.
I remember hearing the story out. The details are a little fuzzy, but I do remember something about a Stardust and a D Prison. If Tamid just doesn't attack with Stardust, he pretty much wins the game, guaranteed.
Right. But he just didn't respect it. But then Dion ended up getting second. I was talking with Dion. I already had plans to go to the ARG of 15K, but Dion was gonna go. So I was like, hey, let me use your deck. And then he was like, yeah, sure, here you go. So he literally gave me the deck. And then like we tweaked a couple things in the with the list, pretty much to get it ready for that tournament. And that's how I ended up playing it. And then he had just won the giant hand, so he put that in the deck. He was like, you can use the giant hand too. I'm like, oh wow,
damn. And you had the full head deck, the prize card. Yeah, giant hand actually mattered back then. I forgot about that.
It did.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, we have full video versions of our podcast episodes available on the IMNerd Patreon, as well as exclusive content.
If you'd like to listen to our full podcast episodes or find us on any other social media platforms, you can do so by clicking the link tree below.